We want to bring in Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He is joining us now on an update on the situation with those two cruise ships set to dock in South Florida. Governor, thank you for being here. What is your announcement right now, and what is going to happen with those passengers, with so many of them having fallen ill?
Yes, Sam. So I think we have a plan. The county, Broward County, where the port is, working with the stakeholders, the cruise lines, as well as the Coast Guard, to be able to bring both of those ships in, but do it in a way that's going to be safe for the people of Florida. There are a number of Floridians on the Zan Dam, so obviously, we want to welcome them back and get them to be safe. There's also, and I think there's been a little confusion about some of this, there's probably another 24 ships that are out there, and some of them want to come to Florida. None of them have American citizens. They're all foreign crewed, and we've been very concerned about that. The Coast Guard's been concerned about it. So this ship, the Zan Dam, then the Coral Princess, we think we have a plan to do that, to make it safe and to get our folks home. But some of these other ships out there, I think, will be a big problem because it really has no connection to Florida or to the American people.
As you know, Governor, the Holland America CEO has been pleading for help on bringing these ships in and getting some of those passengers who need critical help immediately. He said it's a humanitarian situation. He's calling for compassion and reason. What are you going to do with some of those critically ill passengers that are on board those ships?
Yeah, so we've worked with the local hospitals, and I know we have one hospital that is able to take some of the critically ill. They have the capacity to do that, and I think that can be done. And I think that the numbers are such that it's not necessarily going to overwhelm. As you know, one of the main issues with this pandemic is, people are going to get infected. It's a respiratory disease. It's just the way it happens. It spreads. But we want that spread to happen slower so that the system doesn't get overwhelmed, the medical system. We've worked very hard in Florida. I think we have more availability of beds than we've had in quite some time. And that's been a lot of diligence. The hospitals are working hard. We've done some executive orders to do that. So we've prepared for this surge, and we want to make sure that the beds are available for the Floridians who need it. But on the Zan Dam, those folks will get into a hospital in South Florida as soon as this agreement is reached. And, it is the humanitarian thing to do.
But this is a pair of cruise ships that we're talking about that is going to be coming in to dock a short time from now, carrying more than 200 guests and crew with flu-like symptoms. Although only 8 had tested positive, according to the latest reports in front of me, obviously many of those other passengers could be walking around with the coronavirus. Are you going to allow those passengers to get off the ships, and will they be tested?
So the agreement is that hopefully will be announced today. All this is going to be controlled. So, for example, the foreign nationals, they are going to be bused to the airport, but they are not going to go inside the airport. They're going to go directly to a plane, fly. I think some are from Canada, some other countries, and do it that way. So it's all going to be done in ways that are not going to expose the people of Florida to any of the illnesses that may be on there. There's been a lot of things that are being discussed to do that, and obviously, you got to be safe when you're doing this stuff. And so I think that they found a way to thread that needle, and if they did, and that ends up, the deal gets finalized, then I think everyone will be fine. But yeah, we obviously would be very concerned with a ship where this illness is circulating to just basically release people into the general public. I mean, that would be totally contrary to everything else that we're trying to do for public health, not only in Florida, but throughout the country right now.
So, Governor, I'm not exactly sure what you just said about putting them on a plane after they get off the ship and going to Canada. I mean, you're talking about there are 808 guests on the Rotterdam, 583 crew on board, 311 of them are American citizens, 52 of them are Floridians.
And I'm just telling you what the cruise ships are proposing to do to be able to get folks safely home. Obviously, there's no easy solution to this. You could just leave them on the ship for forever. That's obviously not something they want to do. You can't just release them, into the general public if they've been exposed. So they're trying to figure out a way where they can be safely transported to their country of origin without having interactions or contacts with the general public, either in Florida or anywhere else. And so I think those details are being worked on.
Governor, in the case of In the case of the Rotterdam, 311 of them are American citizens. 52 of them are Floridians.
Yeah, so we're obviously working on a plan. I've authorized the National Guard to support logistics operations as necessary to be able to help repatriate the Florida citizens. So it's got to be done carefully. It's got to be done with safety in mind. But I think that's probably, the best way to go about it. I mean, obviously, as governor, I have an interest in getting Floridians back to Florida safely. I also have an interest in making sure that if a Floridian has been exposed to this virus, that they're not in a position to expose others. So all those things are being worked on, but it's going to be done carefully, and I think that's really the appropriate way to do it. At the end of the day, these cruise ships, are problems when you talk about a respiratory contagious virus. And so I know that they've stopped sailing. You still have some of the ones that had taken off in March, and that's just the situation we find ourselves in. I mean, if I could just snap my fingers and no one would be on a cruise ship right now, they'd all be at home. I would do that in a second, but that's just not the situation we find ourselves in.
It's an incredibly difficult situation. We spoke to a son yesterday who had parents on board one of the cruise ships and said his father couldn't get badly needed medicine. And when the doctor got to him, it was the 168th person he had seen that day. So it's a rough situation for a lot of those folks on board. Final question to you, Governor. The New York Times this morning ran a headline, Florida on coronavirus lockdown, finally. They were critical in saying that you were far too late, especially with shutting down some of those beaches. Looking back, could you have done anything differently?
Well, so we have, we have a majority of our cases are in Southeast Florida. They've been under restricted measures now. Miami-Dade, our #1 hotspot for a couple weeks. So we just approached it regionally because it's not the same, throughout the state. Once they did the 30-day extension, we're in a situation, the country's hit the pause button. And so that's just the reality of the situation. And so even though I have parts of the state where the infections are extremely, extremely low, we felt it made sense to go in this direction. But that was based on, the data and the facts that we had before us. And so, it's been a thoughtful, strategic approach based on the evidence that we've had. And I think Southeast Florida, you've seen aggressive measures taken early. And now statewide, even in areas where we may not have a very high infection rate. But I just think it's the right thing to do at this point.
I'm running out of time, but do you feel like you have the situation under control there now?
Well, this is a very difficult situation. I mean, what we have tried to do is expand testing so that we have good data on what we're actually doing. And so we've ended up, I think we're over 80,000 tests now, most of those in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So once we hit 100,000, that'll be one test for every 200 residents here, which is what South Korea did. They reviewed as the gold standard of testing. So we've made huge strides on that. And I think that as we get to that point, we're going to be able to really have a handle on where this is spreading, where it may not be spreading as much, and then tailor policies going forward to be able to address it. But, a lot of the stuff 2 weeks ago, a lot of people were making decisions without having any real facts. We're starting to get more facts in. I think we understand a little bit more about the virus, and so we've tried to react accordingly. But our testing, we have more negative results than almost any state. I think New York may have more because they've tested so much. So we're going to continue to test because I think that's how you know how to combat it.
We'd love to check back in with you and get another update on these cruise ships as they come in. Governor, appreciate you coming on the program today. Obviously, your population, so many of them over the age of 65. It's going to be a huge challenge going forward. Appreciate it, Governor. Thank you.
Thanks.